So from one Mets ace to another guy that's kind of fallen out of his love in New York, Noah Syndergaard, where does he go? Does he stay? Do the Mets want him back? Does he want to be back? Is there any news on Thor at all?
I think both sides have been pretty receptive to a reunion. I know Syndergaard's come out and said, I want to come back and come back here. And I think it's more than expected the Mets will give him a qualifying offer. So it'll give him the opportunity to come back for 1 year at a little more than $18 million, which it's a high price tag for a guy who hasn't pitched much in the last 2 years. But you do get to see what you have in him. And, if I'm the Mets, of course, you certainly extend it. If I'm Syndergaard, I accept it. But I'm also willing to, I'm putting myself in the player's head, I'm willing to discuss maybe a 3-year deal at less than $18 million a year, just to kind of keep him around. Maybe you approach that halfway through the season, see how he looks. But I was very encouraged that he came back at the end of the year. His command looked, for the most part, there. His velocity wasn't all the way, and he said that, he didn't expect it to be all the way back. And if Syndergaard has to learn how to become a 95-mile-an-hour pitcher instead of a 98-mile-an-hour pitcher, his secondary stuff is good enough that he can do that. I do think that the Mets should give him all the opportunities to do it here. I think that his upside it's so high that if you can have him here even on a 1-year deal, on the qualifying offer, the upside that he could bring, slot him in behind DeGrom, Stroman, Syndergaard at the top, and whoever else you bring in, and you have Taijuan Walker and Carlos Carrasco, who just had elbow surgery this week to remove like a bone chip. Again, it all kind of ties into the Mets have a lot to take care of, and I think Syndergaard would be a solid option to plug in. I am reluctant about the $18 million plus price tag for a guy who hasn't pitched much, but we'll see.
Let's go to hockey now, and the Islanders get their first win last night. Sorokin played fantastic, almost had a shutout. He didn't look very good in the first 2 games. This game, he looked really, really good against a pretty good offensive team in the Chicago Blackhawks, who are right now 0-3 and not playing good. You heard what Barry Trotz said in the first and second game, that I'm surprised that we've given up 11 goals. This team was one of the best defensive teams in hockey for the last 3 years, top 3 almost the last 3 years. So when you look at the Islanders, does it worry you that the Islanders haven't scored goals until the third game, put to sleep in the first 2 games? Are you worried about their goal scoring after bringing in Zach Parise, Palmieri on Barzell's line? And when you look at this team as a whole, does it scare you that this defense has not looked as good as it did last year?
Not overly concerned. As far as on the offensive side, I think there's a couple of new lines, a couple of new combinations. I think there's always going to be kind of a just in the adjustment period, everyone kind of getting used to each other. And I think you see it most on the Parise, Matt Barzal line, that guys are still getting used to playing next to each other. Defensively, I am a little surprised at maybe the lack of energy, because this is Barry Trotz. His teams have a trademark style of play, and they haven't done it. And I have full faith in Barry Trotz and the coaching staff kind of getting that all right. We've seen him do it the last few years now. But yeah, and maybe it's concerning. I was, loved to see what Sorokin did against Chicago. That was extremely impressive. Almost had this shutout. It was, 30 seconds away, something like that. Oliver Wahlstrom looked terrific.
Fantastic.
I think he has a very bright future. And between Pulak and Pelech, I love that line. I do like Chara working with...
Chara's playing with...
very young guy.
Is it Mayfield or Dobson?
I guess Dobson, there you go. Yeah. Mayfield, I know he was... an up and down guy.
In the preseason, Chara was playing with Mayfield. I guess they moved him with Dobson.
I think maybe like the last preseason game they had them together, and I was talking to Joe Pantoro over at AM New York, and I think we both kind of mentioned that that could be really good for a young kid like Dobson to kind of learn from an NHL lifer like Chara. Whether they continue to see playing time together is one thing, but I think it'll just be so good for his development. And Ryan Pulak, and Adam Pelech to an extent as well, because they're both just terrific. But boy, Ryan Pulak, watching him develop has been just a pleasure.
So the goaltenders, the two of them, how do you see them splitting this year? Obviously, Varlamov is hurt right now, so Sorokin's getting a bulk of the playing time, but we've seen Varlamov have success for the last couple years with the Islanders. Do you see the split being kind of even? Do you still see Varlamov getting the bulk of it when healthy? Or could you see Sorokin maybe taking over this year like he's supposed to, like the star young goalie that he could be and the superstar he could be in the future?
Oh, I certainly think that they're gonna keep increasing his playing time. A 50-50 split is probably the end game here. And once I think that Volley being injured to start the year, never a good thing, of course, but getting Sorokin to get the feeling or just at least get that rhythm of being in there every night, because there are going to be times, even if they're splitting time, that he's going to go 3 nights in a row or 2 nights in a row, and just to be the regular guy, I think that's going to be good for him. Everything's a learning experience, especially with this coaching staff. They turn everything into a teaching experience. And, I think it's going to work out well. As far as the tandem themselves, they're elite. I think they're one of the more impressive, more durable, more just utterly talented pairings in the NHL, because you don't see that one main goalie anymore. It's kind of a dual thing, and boy, they have all those bases covered.
Let's have a little bit of fun, shall we?
Can't wait to hear this.
Always.
So, I'm not even going to bring up the real team in New York, but that's fun. So, just let's stick with the blue and orange guys for a second. So now, let's just have some fun. The Islanders are a perennial playoff team. I think we all expect them to make the playoffs, if not be a high seed in the playoffs, and probably go on another deep run in the playoffs. So being that they are expected to do such things, let's just go to like January or February, shall we? Is there a guy on your radar that the Islanders should be honing in on to say, he's the missing piece that's going to make us a Eastern Conference Finals appearance guy to a Stanley Cup caliber winning guy? Or are the Islanders just going to have to find this guy in-house?
The Islanders have always had, not always, but they are certainly knee-deep in salary cap restraints at this point. If they made some moves to kind of free up a little bit of space, and I don't have cap friendly in front of me, but I would imagine that if the right deal is out there, if Eichel goes on, I believe he's healthy right now.
You want Eichel?
If he goes on,
you want Jack?
I'm just saying a player of that caliber, a player of that.
You can have.
I mean, with this group, chemistry is such a big thing with these guys, and I think we've seen it the last couple of years where I would have to assume that there were deals out there that they could have had, and they just kind of didn't. I think speculating on who that might be dangerous, especially with Lou at the helm. Freaking wild Lou. He can do whatever he wants these days. Keep it under wraps until, 6 months later. It's amazing. If they could go out and find I don't even know. I really feel like this group is so well put together. Injuries are going to hit, in a couple of months, it could all be different.
Mm-hmm. Well, Vladimir Tarasenko is a guy that a lot of people have been talking about, and I wouldn't be surprised if his name pops up again for the Islanders one way or another. But we are talking to Simply Amazing podcast host and Isles Fix contributor Tim Ryder. Now, everybody wants me to ask this question. Now, we have 2 Ranger fans sitting right over here. One Ranger fan that's logical, that understands, would agree with what I have to say, and another one that has his stick so far up his behind, he's just in his own little world because he's a Ranger fan. That's him over there.
That's me.
Yes, Mr. Big Mouth. So, I want to ask you a serious question, and I want you to give us a serious answer. When you look at the Rangers roster and you look at the Islanders roster, honestly, who has the better players on their roster? Honestly.
So on paper,
Yes.
who's the better team?
Yes.
It's a really good one.
Go ahead, say it. Go ahead, say it.
The Rangers have the star power. I'm not going to there's no denying that. The Rangers have the star power.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, my heart stopped.
That doesn't mean that you.
I'm just saying. I didn't even think that we would start with this.
Oh, see what
he's
you did?
smarter than everyone else on this network already.
Cliffhanger.
Don't make me ruin my words. Don't make me take it back, please.
Who has the better all-around players from line to line? That's all you got to answer. That's all you got to say, Tim.
It's up. I mean, you can go line to line and say you can go player to player and compare player to player. Who has the better top-tier players? The Rangers. Who's got the better meat and potato guys? The Islanders. But where's the difference? That's like where's the most important part? Championships aren't won with 3 guys. Championships are won with 4 lines and 3 lines of defense and 2 goaltenders. It's tough just because they've won more games, and right now they're the clearly better team, not on paper, just in general. The Islanders, but boy, that's a good question.
Yeah, well, I find it. I don't find it to be that easy. I find the question to be easy, but not argumentative. I do believe that the Rangers have 2 really unbelievable talented players in Zibanejad and Panarin. They're unbelievable players.
They should trade one of them.
And Fox it looks like he's going to be a great player too. But besides that,
Fox is something else.
Yes. Yeah. Besides that, does anything else on that roster really stand out to me? I would say no. And
that's disrespectful.
That's not disrespectful. These are factual. I mean, first of all, the Rangers don't have any defense. They don't play defense. I don't even think
Ryan
that
Lindgren leads the league in block shots.
Oh my God! Did you hear that? Tim, did you hear that?
Hold on.
Ryan Lindgren.
It's only been 9 periods.
In 3
but
games.
Still, that's a good stat.
Leads
that's a good
the
sign.
league in block shots.
Reeves is second in hits. He said meat and potato guys. We're finally getting meat and potato guys.
Oh God.
And we got the best goalie.
Your goalie is not the best. He's not the best young goalie in the NHL.
No. I meant New York. Hold on.
Sorokin is better than him. What are you, nuts?
You're insane.
No, you're insane. You sound stupid.
Varlamov might actually be better than him, too. But not for long.
No, you're talking about the
talented goaltender.
Yeah, he's talking about Shesterkin and Sorokin. And I said this, and I'll say it again. When they played against each other in the KHL championship, who won? Who won?
Oh,
Sorokin won.
16 years old. We're going to talk about
16 years
here?
old. What are you talking about? 16. They're 20.
17.
One's 23 and the other one's 24.
Now.
Yeah. What are you?
How old were they in the kid?
22 and 21. You moron.
All right, calm down.
You idiot.
Calm down. You're going to make your hair pop out of your head.
At least I got hair.
That's true. That's fantastic for you.
So. I think you're out of your damn mind. He's the best young goalie in the NHL.
I didn't say that.
Yes, you did.
I did not.
Yes, you did.
No, I did not.
Speedy, did he not say that he was the best young goalie?
Because I've always said Vasilevsky's the best goalie in hockey.
No, you said
I'm not
young goalie.
No.
You said
nope.
Yes, you did.
No, you're not. I said he's the best goalie in New York.
You're on
That's
drugs.
what I said.
You're on drugs. That's what you are. You're on drugs.
And that has nothing to do
whatever
with
whatever you're doing, please keep doing it.
Because
I'm lost, and I should be in that movie.
You should start.
Yeah, I don't want to do it with you.
You might actually find the sense you're trying to leave around somewhere.
Whatever the stench you smell like, I don't want to smell like. There you go, Timmy. I'm done with this.
Leave little Tim out of this.
But Tim, we would like to get you back on again. We really would. As the season progresses, especially for hockey, we would love to get you on, talk a little Islander hockey. A matter of fact, who's our Ranger guy? What's the guy's name who does the Rangers? Anthony Scoltari. And I'm sure you know him. He writes the Rangers blog.
Forever Blue Shirts.
Forever. I want to get both of you on.
Oh, thank God.
At the same time. You and him. And he is so biased when it comes to the Rangers. It's so funny. I would love to get like a back and forth banter. I think it would be great. I want to get you guys like questions, like NHL back and forth questions about your own teams and see who knows more about their teams. I think it'd be really, really funny. Plus, we can make fun of Tyler's hairline. So that would be great too. So there you go. Would you like to do it?
Anytime, and I got dibs on the Barry Melrose mullet wig once we get once we get it going.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you a funny story, quick story. I was at the NHL Stanley Cup Finals, and I was working the press for Boston and St. Louis. Was it Game 7? I think it was Game 7. And I was eating in the back, and I was getting lobster. So I was playing with the lobster, trying to talk with the lobster. There was a girl handing out the lobster, so I started talking with the claws. And Barry Melrose was standing right behind me, and he's looking at me. He says, "Are you going to eat it, or are you going to play with it?" And I said, "I don't know. It looks pretty big. I don't know if I'm going to eat it." So he says, "If you don't want it, I'm going to eat it." So I took it, and it just so happens when I was sitting down, him and Steve Levy were sitting at my table. It was hilarious. And then I was talking to Barry Melrose about the Islanders and the Rangers, and he told me He just told me some crazy stuff, and I actually told him some stories about him that I really loved. But the funny story is, I was talking to the lobster, and he was watching what I was doing. He was like, "Are you going to eat it? So you going to take it, or what the hell are you doing with it?" So that's my story with Barry Melrose. Probably thought I was nuts.
Outstanding.
Yeah. So,
But guys, anytime you want to have me back, I'm down. This was a blast, and I can't thank you enough for having me.
Thank you, Tim.